Hello, thank you for joining me in the class today. So today's going to be an interesting one. I've got an inquiry from Dan. He says he's battling with these foregrounds. So let me read you what he says. I want to learn how to paint more interesting foregrounds. When I do a foreground, it looks smooth like green carpet or like a cartoon. But when I see a landscape from the masters, their foregrounds are so much more interesting and busy and not just smooth blended color. I've tried to mix things up and add more colors, but I always end up just making a big oily mess of mushy colors and they end up just getting blended again. Can you help me? So Dan posted this as an example of the kind of foregrounds that he's battling with. So Dan, yeah, I'm sure you're not the only one that battles with it. So let's go and take a look and just look at some foregrounds and see what can we do to improve them. Let's start with this photograph over here. So you did get this right in yours, but when you're painting a field and things going out into the distance, you get little areas of ground that are at different angles. So this one here is more flat. That one is sort of going down towards the right hand side. So is this one, but there's a little dip in between. This one is dipping down more to the left. And those guys are flat again. And as you do that, you get different angle lines, and that is not something that you did do with yours, but that's not something that in general, if you're painting and you want to get a rolling meadow kind of effect, you've got to look for those different angles because the sun is going to hit them at different angles. Let's go to the next photograph. I'll show you what I mean. Can you see over here? The ground is just going up and down, up and down, up and down. But because it's going all different angles, look at all the variety of colors that you've got. Because the sun, it's a bit of a sunset over here, so you've got little areas where the sun's hitting it more brighter light, and here in foreground it's hitting it with a bit more of the lower sunsetty kind of colors and stuff. Here where you've got this little embankment, it's going darker. So you've got all those different little colors and textures and stuff that are happening just because of the different angle that the ground is lying in. So you have to take a look at that. Then the next one is cast shadows. You've got different objects that are growing out of the ground, and they cast a shadow due to the sunlight. And that also adds tons of extra texture, especially in this area over here. All we can see are cast shadows. We can't even see that there are trees out to the left hand side, but we know they're there because of those cast shadows. And your cast shadows are going to differ depending on the time of the day, whether they're going to be longer or shorter. So that's another way that you can get beautiful texture and interest into your foregrounds. Then the next thing is, here in the foreground, things are large, and going out into the distance they get smaller and smaller. So that's linear perspective. So that's another thing you can do. You keep interesting things here in the foreground, bigger things that you could paint in detail, and that the person can look at. But as you move backwards and backwards, you make all that detail smaller and smaller and less, so that eventually, yeah, at the back, these same kind of flowers are probably all the way through this meadow, even way out into the distance over there, but because of linear perspective, it's not there. And then, of course, atmospheric perspective as well. This photograph here actually shows it quite nicely. Here in foreground, look here, everything is beautiful, sharp, focused, nice, vibrant colors. But as we go back, it gets mistier and mistier. So you're quickly losing all those colors. I mean, here at the back, all you're seeing is the mist, and you're not even seeing any of what's at the back there. Obviously, it's not always misty, but you still have that atmospheric perspective happening here. You can see it happening in this photograph, where you've got dust particles and other goodies that are in the air. So they reflect the sky color. So you can see as you go backwards, your colors are gradually becoming more and more like the sky color. Right, then of course you get other things that make your foreground interesting. For example, you get different types of ground color. here you can see in this foreground you've got like around here you've got like browny kind of grass. Here you've got longer greeny grass. You know, sometimes you see the ground itself, maybe there's a dusty little patch. So you've got all those different types of ground cover. You get different types of plants. Like here you can see you've got all these different types of flowers. Some are white, some are yellow, other ones you get pink. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Some different types of grasses are longer, some are shorter. And they all can be used to add lots and lots of interest into your painting. Then of course it's not just plants. You get rocks and stuff as well. So yeah, in this foreground, let's zoom in over there. Look at all that. Those little rocks and stuff causing these little humps and bumps. And that adds lots of interest because each one of those creates a highlight, a midtone and a shadow. Then of course you get evidence of people living there. The stuff that we create, like plow marks. And look at those plow marks. They following the contour of the ground. So if you want to put plow marks in, you can use those lines of yours to create the illusion of humps and bumps. Here's just another example where the farmer's just come around and he's just cut the grass. Maybe he's now plowed that so they can get feed for the cattle. So now there's still bits that are lying around, and the grass that's growing is going to stay green, but the ones that he's cut is going to turn brown. So there's lots of different colors. Here you can see seems to be a little bit of a stream that we can't see, but there's a gap there telling us that there's a stream. So that's another thing you can add. And next to the stream you've got different types of plants. And can you see what's happening with them? They're cutting that little dark band that we have from the river there, adding lots of little interesting bits. And beyond the river we can see other little flowers and longer grasses and stuff. Lots and lots of interest over there like that. Alright, so what I've done is I've taken Dan's image, this one over here, the one that he originally painted, and I've generated an image that's similar so that we can sort of have something similar to work from. So that's the image that I've generated. So can you see in this one here, the path is a lot more interesting as well. Where this guy over here, let's go back to Dan's one, it's literally in the center, which is also not quite right. And it's zooming, even though it's winding, it's zooming directly straight to the back. Where if we go to this one over here, can you see how more interesting it's winding? So you can often have it winding like it is here in the foreground, and then it will maybe disappear behind some trees and then reappear way out into the distance again. And then you can possibly, there is possibly a continuation of that road way at the top over there. So those are other things that you can do as well. And look at all the interest in that ground. Lots of grass textures and stuff. And in the road itself, you've got all sorts of humps and bumps that are formed by the sand, because you never ride on the same place, right? So it's sort of worn out a little track inside the road, and nice textures inside the trees and so on. So what I have done is I have gone and painted this guy, this scene. So let me show you what that looks like. So there you can see how it's essentially the same scene as what you've got, with just little modifications really, and with all the addition of the things that we've chatted about. So you've got lots more interest in the trees, there's some more texture, there's textures in the grass, there's cast shadows, you've got in the ground lots of little textures and stuff inside the road to show that different path. In the foreground you've got, first of all, linear perspective, where you've got all the flowers and stuff that are large and then they just disappear into the distance. the colors are more vibrant here in the foreground, and then they just disappear on us. You can see in the back mountains you can't see anything. There's no detail there whatsoever. So that keeps your foreground itself interesting. And then there's a lot more detail in the foreground. You can see there's flowers and individual grasses and so on. So let's, just for interest's sake, let's put the updated version and yours side by side, and you can see what I mean. So you can see how just by adding those extra things that we've chatted about, what a big difference it makes in the end of the day. So I hope this has helped you to create more interesting foregrounds going into the future. This painting here is a tutorial on my website, so we'll leave a link to that if you want to go and learn how to paint that individual scene itself. So I hope you've learned a lot. If you have, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.